Hey,
What's up? Welcome back to the Artist Coaching Podcast on Wednesday, 2 o'clock, as always. European time, that is. Hey, Ralph's here. Just a
here
second.
it's 8 o'clock, and we
8
have
o'clock.
balloons.
Hey,
8 o'clock
Ralph.
with balloons.
8 o'clock. Somebody went to the hairdresser.
Oh, looking smooth.
Nothing works. Ralph? Hello, hello.
This
I
is why we
see.
join in advance, so we
Ah,
can get
yeah, now he's gone.
connection issues out of the way. Right.
I see Israel Carter's in the chat. Melodramatic is here. What's up, guys? Good to have you in the chat. Jay is joining us today from Bangkok.
Bangkok.
Yeah.
Yes, all the
Last day,
way.
last day of holiday.
Last day of holiday, yeah. So flying back tomorrow. Now at an airport hotel, and yeah, still tired. Because with kids on holiday, you don't really like physically recover, but
Yeah.
mentally I was totally out of it. It's pure holiday, so that's and the weather is amazing. So yeah, it's lovely,
I would say it's
simply
the
lovely.
I would say it's the other way around, as in physically you recover, but mentally you don't.
Yeah, but how do you physically recover if you don't sleep?
Oh yeah, okay, you have a baby, that's different. But uh, in general, I would sleep, but it's more like during the day, like going to the beach and stuff. Your body does rest. It's just that mentally
Yeah,
you're constantly on. So
yeah. I'm playing in the pool a lot with my daughter,
oh yeah,
my oldest, and but yeah, you're there's no moment mentally where you're like chill or reading a book. You can read one page if you're lucky.
yeah, exactly.
Uh, but I think, I mean, mentally, like I'm like checked out of my work, checked out of home, just like totally in the moment here,
Yeah.
and the weather helps a lot as well. So that's really good to just be away from yeah the daily things, even though they are not bad, but it's just good to go away from it sometimes.
You're away from golf.
Your mic is very
I did,
low.
Hello, hello,
I,
hello,
Yeah,
hello, hello.
there
Better?
you
yeah,
are.
I did play one round of
Bitches.
golf during
Yeah,
my
I
holidays,
noticed.
so
Is it
can't
something?
complain.
That's something you do everywhere, right? If you travel, you try to do a golf course.
Yeah, I tried to, and I was in Pattaya, close to Bangkok, and a friend of mine was there as well, who plays golf, who's very good. And then I hit him up like, "Hey, let's play around."
Is that a
So
friend
you
So
like
can play golf, but you cannot read a book. How's that possible, man?
no kids on the golf course?
Oh,
no
hey.
kids, yeah, exactly.
Always a
So
solution.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, it's
Okay.
just lucky with yeah with my girlfriend allowing me out of the hotel for a few hours. But
Letting you off the
Sounds
I
leash.
so
even was around.
manly.
I was even allowed another round, but I declined that one. So
Hmm. Okay,
yeah,
okay. And you also did a gig in China with New Year's Eve, right?
yeah,
Did
yeah,
did
yeah.
you,
That
did
was
you no no right after that you weren't in the podcast
no,
anymore. No. How was
no,
that?
because the internet was that was
Hmm.
really good. I think like 5,000 people in Nanjing, and yeah, it was like the local party where there was also some pop stars and stuff, and then I was the headliner and closed,
Hmm.
and it was really good. Really, yeah, really good old show with like a lot of people from the town, but also just some fans and some that even went to my show in Sanya a month ago. So they showed the picture, and I went to take pictures with them after the show.
Oh, cool.
Um, so that was really cool. And we got a
Nice.
few days extra there to chill with the family, and then headed to Thailand. So it was a direct flight, so that it's perfect.
Nice.
Yeah,
Sounds nice.
yeah.
I need to fix the lighting here, man. I look like a ghost. Like
No, you
it's
look good.
now there's a lot of light here, but you could say too much light, as in
It's
yeah.
it's just it's how I know you.
Yeah, this is how I officially look. Like Ralph is brushing away everything with the black with the blue backlight colors and he's looking fresh.
Yeah. Yep, it is.
Yeah,
That's
It's
how we
looking like a
roll.
streamer, pro
The,
streamer.
the serial killer's glasses on.
exactly.
Appa, hey, I have some good news, guys.
Tell me.
Look at this. Wait.
New
Zing!
laptop.
Your
Hey,
laptop's working.
totally installed and all. I'm
How
a
long did
big,
it
big
take?
boy.
Ah,
How long did it take?
Couple of days.
Hmm,
Three.
dude.
3 days of
it's
pure
not too bad.
frustration. So I'm gladly doing my normal business again and working on music. The best way in life to achieve stuff is to make sure at some points you experience true agony.
True
That's
pain.
the
Hey,
best.
write
Don't
write
go on
that write
holidays.
that on a
Go
tile.
to hell and then come back. Then you're recharged.
Yeah.
Well, it is good to
I have a
experience pain.
I have a funny story about. I was also installing my laptop. This is like a year ago, and I had a plugin, Shaperbox, and I have Shaperbox 2, and then I installed Shaperbox 3 because it was a bit. I mean, their website is a bit. I don't know. It wasn't clear to me, and I downloaded the wrong shaper box, and I had the license file for the other shaper box. So I was like, I can't get it installed, but here's the license file, and it's always just named license dot something. So you're just like you don't really know which license it is. And I was doing trying it, and then I emailed them out of pure frustration, and I get an email back saying. These are your registered products, and I was like, "That's Shaperbox 2, and you're trying it with Shaperbox 3. You don't have a license for
Oh,
that."
nope.
And then I was like,
Three.
it cost me like a few hours of frustration.
And you had to buy it. You didn't buy it.
I was no, I bought the previous their older version. So
Ah,
I
okay.
went to download. Like I was just like I download Shaperbox. So I download. You just download the newest one. I didn't know. I'm used to Fruity Loops, FL Studio giving lifetime free updates, which I think all those software companies should do, but they don't. So
Yeah, that's true. But installing all those things is always a bitch. Like there's so many different things you should install. There should be a
yeah,
way. Like you know what I really
I,
like.
I also
If
want
you
to point
if
out that Shaperbox is an amazing plugin. You can't go without.
I actually think there's a question about that
it's
later
really
on,
good.
but you know what I like? If you buy a new iPhone, you can just click copy and the whole thing instantly copies everything. That's
Yep.
what you need with MacBooks as well. I'm not sure if it works
I
already.
think on MacBooks it works better with also like the reserve copy. Microsoft is a little bit less, but also there's a lot of shit you can just haul over
Hmm.
through your iCloud
Yeah,
drive. But I mean, uploading and downloading so many terabytes is just also a pain
yeah.
in the ass.
I do
And
think
also, what I don't understand is I install all the plugins, 32-bit and 64-bit. I don't know what's the fucking difference, but hey,
Does it have to do with
works.
speed? Probably.
I don't know, and I don't care. It works, and somebody can probably point it out.
Yeah.
Also, it's kind of no use, maybe. I gotta
I
say, this
think
bad boy is a beast. I have no CPU problems whatsoever. Insane.
I
What did you
think
buy?
your software. I think your software runs on 64-bit, and then a lot of the 32-bit plugins will be bridged by your DAW. So there's some extra CPU usage, I think, but I think it doesn't matter because you have plenty, something like that. I think, but
Okay.
What did you buy, Ralph?
The Dell Alienware,
Okay, is that like a special line from Dell or something?
yeah, gaming laptop.
Oh, gaming laptop. Okay.
Yeah, I looked at MSI because they're pretty good. They're also really expensive, but I noticed that most of the newer processors, I think it's the i9 processor. Um, yeah, it's just one of the best there is out there right now. and so the only thing I really looked at was the cooling problems, what the reviews were on that. Because with the Razer, I had a lot of cooling error issues, and yeah, I think this came out on top. So yeah,
Okay, nice.
yep.
I have to say, I have a Alienware PC, which I still have in my studio since 2018.
Hmm.
It's still actually very good. It's still working properly. So yeah, definitely also happy with Alienware.
Okay.
They should sponsor the podcast, maybe. Just
Yeah,
saying.
or else we're gonna badmouth you. So
Or else
Alienware,
we're gonna go
if you're
to a
listening,
different.
Trash
yeah,
you. We're gonna have
Yeah,
Apple as a sponsor.
yeah.
yeah.
Hey, you know what I just found on the interwebs? I opened up YouTube and a recommendation came by, which was actually a live stream on the Avicii account, and it was like, I think it was 8 years ago. Let me check. Um, it was 8 years ago. A live stream of like roughly 4.5 hours, and I thought that was pretty interesting. As in, 8 years ago, he already did like a live stream for a few hours just from the studio, seeing him with a couple of people in the studio. And by now, if you've watched the documentary, you actually recognize some of the people. Um, but it's just, if you just skip through it, it's very interesting to see how they work and how it goes in a studio environment like that. What was also very what was also very interesting to me is that, especially now, I think today, in the age of social media today, social media or live streaming is becoming more and more important. So things like this are actually something I would recommend doing today. What are your thoughts on that? Like just a raw live stream.
Um, yeah, it's difficult because I always think, do I care about the end product or how it's made? And I think
Hmm.
as a producer, I very much care about how it's made, and like it's amazing to see an idea being built. But as a consumer of music, I don't. Sometimes I don't care, or I think a lot of people don't really care. And I think that's the difference between some fans, and I think not all your people at the show care how you make your music, but if you can do it, if you have the time for it,
Mm.
definitely it's a good exposure extra to get some extra exposure and fans, I think.
Mm. I think it's
Yeah,
an
it depends
easy.
on what kind of people you want to follow you. If you look at Disclosure, who shared a lot of hours in the studio, yeah,
Mhm.
you also get people who like that. But do they also come to your shows? Yeah, I don't
I
per
think the
se know
people who
that.
would like those live, who would watch those live streams, are mainly music producers as well. Um, but in most cases, I would say music producers are your first fans, as in, um, they are kind of like your first ambassadors, and after that, oh,
Oh,
regular people come in.
uh,
almost, almost
hey,
All
bumped
this
into
I
each
mean,
other.
technology here.
where did the microphone come from, Joey?
This
What's up
one.
with that? Yeah, it all of a sudden it was there, and you bumped into it.
No, it's been here all the
It's
time.
the joke, man. Come on.
Ah, okay.
it's
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
called
no.
it's called gaslighting, man.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now I get it.
Hey, but I'm not sure if that's the first fan or not. I mean, it's people listening to your music and just thinking, "Oh, I like this. Let's look up the person and see what content they have, and see if they also want to consume that content." And I think there's so much forms of consumerism of your music, or as you being an artist. Yeah,
Yeah.
it just depends also on what you want. If you're like passionate about sharing all that content, it's gonna cost you some time and effort. But yeah, you're gonna fulfill that purpose
Yeah, I think
eventually.
it has changed as well, because if you look at how we've built our careers, I think back then it definitely were the music producers and the DJs who were the first kind of people who found out about you. But now because of social media and content that can be shared throughout the algorithms, it can also be like regular fans finding out about you easier than they used to do, right?
But there's also so many forms of people who are. I mean, some are really invested in dance music. What kind of subgenre they are? If I look at some of the, yeah, as I've mentioned before, I'm really deep into hard techno lately. There's a lot of still ideas that go around that people try to identify, and that's how we know it as well. And back in the day in 2012, also all those unreleased IDs they went around the internet, and then in the form of blog posts or whatever, or forum posts, and now they go in the forum on TikTok for like whose unreleased ID is this, or check
Hmm.
out what he or she is playing right now. So in that way, it hasn't changed. I also don't think that's per se the producer or another DJ. It's also a lot of just people going to those parties, and they're really invested in it. Also, if I look at the way they uh, clothe themselves, they're also that's like really specific. It's not how you would just walk down the street. They really turn into this their alter ego and go to those parties to just vent and let go and escape.
The visitors,
Um,
you mean, or the DJs?
no, the visitors, yeah.
Hmm.
And it used to be like that in our scene as well. When I was
Yeah,
in Miami, like Ultra Music Week was back then, and later on became Winter Music Conference. I don't know what.
yeah.
And or man, I'm just mixing up things. But never mind. That's not the point. People were just like in hordes walking down the street, dressed up like crazy as f,
It's like the
and
rave culture, right?
Really, really. They also had the candy everywhere,
Yeah,
around the necks and the arms,
bracelets.
and passing that around was all about plur, peace, love,
Yeah,
and
blur. Yeah,
unity, raving. I don't know
yeah.
what it stands for, and but it was just like this big community, and then later on, with the more popular things get, then it kind of gets less and less. Like it's less of a strong community and gets
I think
yeah.
this also sounds weird, but I watching the Avicii documentary, I at some point thought like, oh, I miss this era where like EDM was this like it was kind of a niche, but it blew up so big, but
Hmm.
it still was like this one scene, and everything was like Avicii was probably the king, and then you had Afrojack and all those. It was just one scene. Everybody knew everybody a little bit. If you had a good release, people would know your name, and the parties were just crazy. And I realized like that is really gone. That era of
What has made
where
you
it was
think?
No,
just
it's not gone. It's just in different genres now, and a little bit
yeah, but I mean
less
like it's
of a
way it's
magnitude.
not it's
But
not one yeah it's less one scene where it's like then it was like oh all these EDM guys, and now
that's
it's
true.
like
But it was
all the main
also
stages are like shattered a bit.
I know, but it was also so unhealthy because the programs of all the big festivals were you would start at 12 in noon, and people would play like the EDM, progressive, big room stuff, all 130
Until the end.
BPM up until the late hours when they would close off, and you would still hear the same music. You also had like when we entered the
Well,
scene with
that's
Mush Mush, we were played on one day 9 times at EDC Las Vegas. So people
but
it couldn't escape our sound. Like yeah,
no, yeah, I agree on that, but I just felt that like maybe it's just nostalgia,
Nostalgia,
and
yeah.
yeah.
Well, it
things
was
things things were better back then, but it did feel like more of a like one community, and like
definitely. I totally agree, and it was
yeah,
bound to scatter at some point because
yeah,
it wasn't
exactly for sure.
sustainable at all. But
Isn't that
yeah,
what always happened? Because I think if you would ask one of the OG techno guys the same question, you will probably get the same answer by
no,
now.
no, no, because there in also in the whole music history, there haven't been so many points in history where things would blow up so big. I mean, all of a
Mm.
sudden, like in a 2 3 year span, there would like all these new festivals pop up with not 10 or 20,000 people. No, there would be like 120,000 people. You don't get those masses up so quickly. And we only knew that from, let's say, the Woodstock times. I mean, that was kind of a more a revival of those days than of something
Yeah,
else. It was really like it really blew up.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Boom.
I always also feel really lucky to be part of it because I feel like I had good releases, of course, but it was instantly like I had a few releases that were doing good, and then people were like, "Oh, so you are part of this
Mm,
scene,
Yeah.
and you are part of this scene as an
You were
artist," and then it
riding
was just
riding that
like,
wave
yeah.
massively, and there were
and
people.
that
They had like
and yeah,
5,231 people following them on Facebook, and they had a release on one of the bigger Dutch labels. And then somebody in America was thinking it would be a good idea to book that person for $5,000
Yeah.
and fly them into Chicago or whatever city or
yeah.
state, and it was just madness. And it
Yeah.
worked
But people
because
also
still
the
sold.
crowd
Yeah,
was there. The crowd was also like,
they
"Oh,
were. Yeah.
this person is actually like
The
in the
biggest
EDM
mistake
scene." Like,
artists back then made was thinking they were popular, but we were all riding that wave.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I agree a little bit, but I do think like I had a lot of places where I remember like, oh, people were asking, you were signed to Spinning
Hmm.
Records, and I was like, yes, and they were so like a fan of me because I was signed to Spinning Records.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think you're right, Ralph. I think like that movement happened, and to be part of it was just like a bit of luck. It wasn't per se
Hey, we
that
were
I
at the
had
right
so
time in the right
much.
place.
Yeah, exactly. But I do think because like I like to think I'm a pretty good DJ. um,
We know
but
you
I
think
do
that.
think because then if you then got
Shameless
booked
plug.
for like an EDM night, um, and it would be like an EDM night with Jay Hardway because he's part of the EDM uh, yeah scene. But then if you played a good set, it would really like be like this snowball effect of the crowd going crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember that especially opening for Martin Garrix, where I was like, I can't play too hard yet. So I played like housey chocolate puma stuff, and the crowd would just lose their mind just because you're playing like good songs, but not even like the crazy hits.
Mm,
This must have been like 2015 or something, which was for me like, man, such a good time
yeah.
to see people not just there for the hits, but they actually fully enjoyed the music.
And now think that's 10 years ago.
It's crazy,
I
right?
know.
I
Yeah, I
actually,
know.
How cool is that?
with moving the office,
Crazy.
I also found a couple of
Books.
folders like these things, maps, folders, however you call them. Um, and all my old invoices were in
I
there.
do like you have the same setup in your new office.
It's
With it
almost the
covered,
exact
yeah.
same. But there were like all the old invoices in there, so I started to go through them also to kind of check the timeline, right? Like when did I play where, what did I got paid and stuff. It's pretty fun to see like what the fees were back then and which gigs
Yeah.
did you
So
play and
you're calling your agent like, hey dude, in the 28, 2008, you still owe me
I still get
200
20
euros, eh?
bucks. Yeah.
It is fun though. I mean, we don't have our old inbox anymore because it was a different email, and that's really a shame because we had some nice emails in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we go back quite some, and all the businessy stuff I never lose.
It's very fun to go back because it
Yeah,
also kind of puts things in perspective for yourself. It's very
Do you also had Joey that I sometimes see old emails? Sometimes I'm looking for an email and then I go see an email of 2015. And sometimes I sent emails that I was like, this guy is arrogant, you know? He's like really thinking, not arrogant, but like just a bit too cocky or something. And then I think that's in a career, it always like, oh, things are going well. So you get a bit
bit cocky, yeah.
overconfident and then you get humbled, but not really like hateful, but just that I was like, ooh, I was
Yeah.
really direct back then.
I must say I haven't really checked my own emails. I did check, but that was when I was starting to write my book. I went back into the time as well to check stuff, and I found a couple of emails. One for Mark Knight, for example. I think it's in the book, the literal email. which I got from Mark Knight, and I still remember when I got it, like waking up, opening my email, and there was an email of Mark Knight saying that he was playing my remix a lot and that he liked it, and if I would like to do a remix for Toolroom Records, and I just got what, he was one of the big guys,
Yeah.
still is, I guess. It's pretty. He's an OG. Um, but I do have a couple of those emails, but I never really checked my own. Um,
No.
what I do know, what I always got as feedback from people in the industry at gigs, for example, and stuff, the feedback I always got was that what they really liked about me is that I always was so humble, like so normal.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that that's something most Dutch people have, as in, doe maar normaal, weet je wel. Just do
Mhm.
normal. You're crazy enough.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's something
Man,
that, yeah.
sorry. Yeah, no, you're right. We go.
No, I think that's
Or we
something
finished.
that
Oh,
that's just in me, and that I kind of brought with me throughout my whole career.
yeah. Well, yeah. I remember this one email I found back, and I don't know what happened, but it's such a missed opportunity. This was around the time I made Electric Elephants, which was being played by a lot of DJs. And then Tiesto he contacted me for a collab, and I sent him tracks, and there was even one he liked. So he was like kind of like, hey, let's finish that one, or work on that one. And then after that, nothing, and it never
So
came to
you
a collab.
were
And it's
like ghosting
You were
Tiesto.
ghosted. Yeah.
I think so, but I don't know. And it's like, what was I doing that was probably on tour or so, but just like, that's a missed opportunity,
Oh,
man. Like,
you never
what happened?
replied.
He Jopke ghosted Thijs. What
I
up?
think I never, I think I never replied, or I sent a version that he then didn't reply to anymore. That's actually maybe more likely, or I waited too long before I got to work on the track. Something like that must have happened.
Yeah.
But it's like I see also stuff like that, and I'm like, and more DJs emailing me for a collab just around the time you get popular. And then if I would email them now, they're like, "Who are you?" But
Yeah, that's
yeah,
fun.
it's
Fun to
That
it's
see.
would be
it's
funny
funny
though to reply on those old emails
Yeah.
like, "Hey, let's
yeah, let's do
start
it,
now.
man.
Already
Let's
started
do this.
something."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Also, I don't know if I should share this. I can share this, I think. There's been a few times where a lot of DJs were accidentally on a CC instead of the BCC in an email. And
Yep.
this happens with different organizations or festivals. I've seen it many
Yep.
times and I would be part of it. And what is really funny about this, first of all, I get a lot of emails or agents' emails or managers' emails, which I can use, which is like, sorry, but that's what I'm gonna do. Afrojack almost always sees that and then replies to everyone like, "Oh, hey guys, see you in the summer or something," or like, see you in Miami."
Ah,
Like
that's
Everjack
funny.
always replies to all, and it's been a few times that that happened, and I'm like, that's so funny because everybody sees that that happens, but everybody just kind of like, yeah, ignores. Everybody keeps the emails maybe, but then Afrojack's just like, "Hi everyone."
Thanks. See you in
So
the
funny,
summer.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
Exactly.
Hey, let's go to the clip of the week. It's gonna
Ooh.
be a clip.
Which one is it?
Yeah, that's a surprise. It's gonna be a clip from our big friend, our biggest fan.
That mouse?
Yep.
I'm so sorry, you're so good inside. Girl, it's been so long.
Yeah. So what you see is Dead Mouse sitting in a chair behind his decks on stage. Or oh,
His decks or his desk?
desk-ish. I'm not even sure what I'm looking at, but I think
He
it's like a
looks like
live
he's
setup.
sitting in a game chair.
Yeah, and he's just
Yeah.
sitting and having a beer. And afterwards, he also replied to someone like, "Can the guy just chill in a chair?" What did he say? Let's see. Um, Where did I share the post? Oh, here it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he
something
says,
like
can,
can't the
can a
guys
guy
just
Can a
just
chill and
guy,
have a
chill for
beer?
a minute and drink a beer
yeah,
in
can a
a
guy just
chair,
chill
something
and
like that.
drink a beer, lighten the fuck up? What's your opinion on this? As in doing that on stage, like what's your what's your take on that? Is that something like
Genius.
I think it's more of a marketing thing. I think he just knows if I do this, people will start talking about it, and like we do now, like
Yeah,
I think it's
He
just another
knows.
move.
At some point, you also had a lot of techno DJs doing longer sets, and then, like, obviously, eat a plate of spaghetti or something. It's shit people share. It's funny to see, and also with him chilling, it looks hilarious. Also, I mean, apparently, it's just like this pause in the show for like one, and he just chills and then goes on with the show. I think it's genius. Of course,
I
everybody would
think
share it. It looks hilarious.
Yeah.
what I really like about Deadmau5 is he's always acknowledged very much that he's just pressing some buttons to press play. There's nothing special to his mixing. He's playing his songs, and he always is a advocate of that. Like, hey, you guys are enjoying the music. I am not doing much here, but at least. And then he's like drinking a beer like that, which is all part of that kind of like, yeah, um, his thing. And I think that's really funny. It would never be my kind of thing because I actually enjoy the music I play. So I don't know if that mouse does too, but
Some shots fired
he
here,
seems
but
not to.
Yeah,
keep going.
you are gonna
Oh,
get
He
burned.
seems not to enjoy it. He seems not to enjoy it, which maybe he does, and he's just not showing it. But I like to show that I enjoy it. Um, hey, but he sells tickets. People go to his show. People like his music. So can you really hate on the guy? Not really.
Kudos. Okay. Um, a few like practical things. The giveaway has ended, Ralph, and we have a winner.
hey, Jay
Um,
Hardway.
Jay, I'm not sure if you're aware, but we did like a giveaway in the Discord the last 2 weeks, where Ralph decided to give away a Bassjackers cap and feedback,
I
in-depth
saw.
feedback on one track.
Yeah, and if those who want a cap, they can pick it up at Joey's. I'm not
Sure.
gonna send them.
Yeah. We had 41 people entering the giveaway.
Who?
41 people entering the giveaway.
Ah, it's not too shabby.
And we have a winner, ladies and gentlemen, and that winner is Jay Sugar.
Oh, it is Jay.
Yes.
It's
It
your
is
alter
Jay, but
ego.
it's his
I
alias.
signed up under a fake name, Jay
Yeah.
Sugar, hoping that I would get the chance to have Ralph feedback
Man,
on one of my
it's a
tracks.
cool name, by the way. Jay Sugar. Dude, you
It's
can do porn and music.
Jay Sugar. We already reached out to him. We tagged him on Discord and stuff, but we have not got any mention from him so far. So
Oh,
Jay, if you're listening right now, reach out to us, and we'll make sure that you'll get what you deserve. So
you
yeah,
get what you deserve. Oh, wow. Hey.
Wow, that
yeah,
sounds.
that's in-depth feedback on one track from Bassjackers
Yeah,
himself.
and we also mentioned that probably Jay Hardway, being social as he is, he would probably top that giveaway and
Yeah,
do even
Jay,
more.
Oh,
what are you gonna give away? Like, what's the giveaway we're gonna do this week?
um, that's a really good question, huh? It's a really good question. I have to think about it. I have to like maybe look at my studio or something fun I can give away, or I might have like an old MIDI keyboard or something, or new
Golf
MIDI
lesson?
keyboard, or
Also, something you can do,
that's fine.
Jay.
Yeah,
I
like
mean, you
a
can
Golf,
win a
round of
collab
golf,
with Jay Hardway, a golf
round of
clinic
golf.
by Jay
Yeah,
Hardway. I
a
mean,
golf
yeah,
it's all
yeah, yeah,
good.
yeah. Something golf related is really awesome, I think.
a golf clinic. Is that something?
Yeah, yeah, but I mean I'm very good at now. I suck at golf, but so I
Yeah.
probably suck more at giving lessons. But we
let's
can work out
uh
something.
let's see if we can fix something that's actually valuable for an artist, and I'll put it up in the Discord, another giveaway. So if you're listening and if you're not part of the Discord yet, you're missing out. It's happening in the Discord. The link is in the description. More and more people are joining every week, so thank you for that. And actually, it's getting more active with the week as well. I saw a lot of people like sharing music this week and giving feedback to each other. So kudos, I love
That's
that.
so important.
Yeah,
And also just comment on each other. keep it nice though,
Yeah,
and
they are.
but constructive. And I mean, for us, for Jay and me, and also Joey, that helped us a lot in the past. And the past has been quite a lot of time ago, since we
Yeah.
were talking about 10 years ago earlier. So if you can imagine,
Yeah,
woof.
but we've been talking about that layback look forum, right? Like
Yep.
that's kind of what's happening here as well. That people are just helping each other to get a better result with their music production, to get a better network, to understand better what they need to do. Some guidance, you could
Yeah.
say. So
It's not a coincidence that so many artists that broke through eventually were on the same forums. You had Club
Yeah.
Charts, Layback Luke, Devato Gonzalez, and there was three big hotspots
And
where people would discuss music and
but it
yeah,
wouldn't feel big. The hotspots wouldn't feel big. You would
yeah,
feel
true,
like you're on this small little forum with just a few people, and like Luke, for example, would read all the
yeah.
posts there. And I think that's the same now. It could be that there's a new generation in our Discord and stuff, but it doesn't feel like the place to be
I mean,
because
Avicii, Afrojack, they were all on the
yeah,
Layback Luke
yeah,
forum, and
exactly.
W&W were on Club Charts,
yeah,
and yeah, I don't know, Garrix was on Vato Gonzalez. Yeah.
true.
Same.
And ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen, we
and
have
they back look for.
another community thing to celebrate because the one and only Josh Letiger has an Asia tour coming up.
Oh,
Sick,
that's big.
amazing.
Yeah, well, you need to celebrate those things, you know. Like he's been grinding it, and he also
Yeah,
got what he deserved, which is a
Yeah,
tour in Asia. So
you get what
congratulations
you
on that.
deserve. That's
Yeah,
that's
your
really good,
meme,
man.
Joey, and then you get what you deserve.
exactly.
But it
Hey,
is cool to see someone grinding for that many years and then getting the shows
Yeah,
exactly.
abroad. That's what you eventually mostly do it for, I guess. And it's like really cool to see
and he's
that
delivering
happening.
real quality. And at some point, if you keep on doing that, something will click, and then
Exactly.
stuff will happen. And persistence is key. Let's throw in some
Consistency is
tile
key.
wisdom.
Yeah. Hey
Yep.
guys.
Community questions.
Yes,
There we go.
sir.
By the way,
Okay.
I have one other jingle finished. I'm working on all the others, so progress, I would say. We have a shit ton of questions this week.
Shit
Um,
ton. A
yeah,
shitload or a ton?
a shitload and a ton.
Okay.
I saw a few coming into the live stream, but first we're gonna dive into the Discord, which is where you can leave your questions throughout the whole week. Um,
Community
let's
questions. It's so
see.
good, man. Your best work ever, Joey.
Thank you very much. Here's a question from Mikey Foden, which I can answer. I know previously there was talk about NFTs being a thing, but in 2025, is it still a thing? I have not really seen much talk of them anymore. You are 100% right, Mikey. 99% of all the NFT projects have died. 1% is still going strong. I would say NFTs for now are not necessarily a thing, but I do still believe in the future it's going to be a thing, especially in relating to music. But it's going to take a long time before we're going to get there. So um, that's kind of the quick update for now, I would say. Um, Jelly Boner, how do you guys achieve such a powerful low end?
With our
And
jelly
your name is
boner, we
Jelly
do.
Boner, and that's your question. Amazing.
how do
Okay,
you
yeah, I lost you at boner.
how do you guys achieve such a powerful low end? Do you use stuff like R bass, max bass? Also, how do you balance your kick and sub? Same level, or is the sub lower than the kick?
Kick is
Lower
always
than
the
the.
lowest
Oh
Kick the
yeah, your
for
lowest.
me.
sub is actually the lowest. Your
No,
kick
you
is.
kick you. Well, you kick you want the main punch to have like the lowest frequencies. I think.
Oh,
What I learned from Late Big Luke on his forum. So
okay.
you don't want your sub bass like interfering with that too much. So you can sidechain it or cut some very low frequencies off.
Yeah. You can
But
forget
as
everything
Ralph,
that Jay said. The low end is the sub. Your kick, Yeah, I mean your punch, your hump is around the 100, 150, and then it can be the whole spectrum for that. Depends on what kind of kick it is. Or I mean, nowadays you a kick consists of so many layers. You have this the little punchy, then you have the hump, the what we call the punch
Mhm,
actually,
mhm, mhm.
and then you have your sub and your low mids, your high mids, high end, and you have actually these cool kick builders in some of the packs where you can choose it all. I also think I never checked it out, but Maddox also has this kind of plugin designed for that. Mainly for more techno-y kicks. I mean, there you have a lot of more. You can have the what's it called?
Is it called Rumble? Yeah,
Yeah, you have,
Rumble.
of course, you have the rumble, and you can have the schans and all that kind of shit. But yeah, I actually like that you have the kick builders. There's so many layers in a kick, but your sub is the lowest.
Okay, so what
I
you
th-
can get
I
from
Yeah,
the
it's
say
from the kick, but you have a bass and a kick. Your bass then depends on the genre as well. But like usually my bass doesn't go lower in frequency than my kick, and my kick has sub in it. Is that a good way of putting it? But
could be,
also
yeah.
just in general, I do think it depends very much on the genre you're trying to make.
That's definitely true.
Yeah,
Now when I make a kick bass, I usually my kick is only the half of one step. No, well, not one step, one kick. So one beat. The half of it is usually my kick, not more. My sub I usually get from just a sub, and then you have the higher bass, which is the oompa oompa oompa. And then the pa is the bass. It's hard to
yeah, I think
explain,
yeah,
but
and
yeah,
I think what I mostly was explaining was like for melodic stuff. It would be different because the kick would be different from the bass line that plays different bass notes.
that's
So, and you
true.
also don't want that to interfere too much. And I think, yeah, what is a tip for that is really trying stuff out. And if you're also a DJ, you really have to try it out somewhere on a big system or bigger system
Yeah,
because
and also
that's
what I
really
sometimes noticed when I re-listen to something, then I think, this is not the right key. You have to transfer it all to a different key. That will help quite a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
And yeah, like
But
Joki says, it really depends on what you're making. Yeah,
yeah, but it's sometimes very sad because sometimes you have a track and you're like so excited, and then you're gonna play it out for the first time. You're like, oh, yeah, and the drop hits, and it doesn't work. Like the sub or something, the kick doesn't work. It just doesn't work, and it's such a you can feel it, and you want to mix it out as soon as you can, but you're like, oh fuck,
yeah.
I do have
But
the
it,
next
it
track
can depend
ready.
on so many things. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe your
yeah, yeah,
volume levels are not are off, or the pre-drop is really defining the drop, or yeah, I
yeah.
don't know, maybe your melody is just shit.
yeah,
Yeah, can
Yeah, yeah,
all
there's many factors to it because sometimes a build up is so good that the drop can just only disappoint.
yeah. And
So it's
also,
like,
I mean, to hear your low end, the sub is one of the hardest things there is. I have so many tracks that in the end, sometimes it's also really beneficial that when you have a track ready, that you just put the EQ3 fab filter. There's now a 4, which I don't use by the way, but must be good. But and then try to make little bells and see if something happens. Make sure you also limit your track and then put on the bells, or else you're not going to hear anything because it's not limited. And then see if your overall sound changes. If it doesn't, it could be that there's some more room in your low end where you can boost a thing or two,
mm,
which is
okay.
a good tip. I do it
yeah,
all the
also
time.
take off that EQ before you export.
Little tip, practical tip.
Well, yeah, but it's if you already exported, then you check it out and make sure you always limit after
Yeah.
an EQ.
Here's a question from Melodramatic. How do you guys deal with hatred on your socials as your fan base starts to grow? Do you tend to just ignore it or engage with it and make light out of it?
Celebrate it. With
Or just don't
every
give a fuck?
hater, it means there's also lovers. And
More
without
haters, more
haters,
lovers.
no life.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It is sometimes difficult to see someone hate on your track, what you're insecure about, and then someone points that exactly out, while 99 people are like praising your track, and then there's one guy that says, "Oh, this sounds like it wasn't mixed well," and then you're like kind of insecure about the mixing, and you're like, "Oh shit."
Yep.
Um, but I try to either not even just scroll past it, or try to reply with a funny comment. And what a lot of times happens, if there's a hater and you reply like funny, or you say something, yeah, just to get back at him a little bit in a funny way. Sometimes it happens that they then say, "Oh yeah, but I meant no disrespect. I love your stuff."
Mm.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. So a lot of times they aren't even really hating. It's
It's
just
like
people that are
keyboard
just
warriors.
Yeah,
yeah yeah
99% of the time you just don't reply, and those 1%, you do kill them with kindness, or with a
yeah
little bit of humor.
Also an
And
option.
I mean,
yeah yeah.
whatever they
Yeah.
say, I mean, it's their opinion. That's okay,
But it's
and
very
it's
hard
also
to
Of course.
okay
deal.
to ignore it.
It's very hard to deal with negative feedback because you have the negativity bias, right? It's something we all have, as in you can hear 1,000 positive things, but your brain will always focus on that one negative thing.
Yeah, it never
So
got to me, to be honest, never.
no,
And you're
what did you
always a little
always?
bit insecure when you put something out, because everything you make is kind of personal. But man, I mean, let them complain. I really don't care
But are
at
you
all.
better in kind of ignoring it now than you were 10 years ago?
Now
I
I'm
am.
better at yeah, I am, but it never really got to me. I have been, as there were some points that I was ready to flame back, and but I didn't. And now I don't even take the effort to say something back. Sometimes I just, like I said, get them with kindness, and usually then they respond also really nice. Then it's
Yeah.
all just diffused.
It's also because they
And
don't
Yeah
expect you to answer, right?
yeah, yeah,
yeah
yeah. I
yeah
mean,
yeah.
sometimes it was kind of, at some point we had, and I actually could get the criticism, like, when are you starting to make something new versus I want to hear the old sound. That's
Yeah
confusing because
yeah.
okay, and now obviously since the whole world has gone to the newer sounds, more high up tempo, then people you also get I miss the old sound,
Whole
and I
Ralph's
get it.
world, whole Ralph's world.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, whatever. And for me, it's the most important thing is that the music is in my vision, and if they
Yeah.
want to hear something else, hey, get at it and
Yep.
make some stuff. Be like Josh Letizier and get your Asia bookings.
Talking about Josh,
Exactly.
here's a question from Josh.
Hey.
Any tips for a first-time traveler DJ to Asia? Jay,
Don't
as you
go to
are literally
America.
in Asia right now, what are your traveling tips for a first-time touring artist?
Yeah, there's many funny lines I could come up with, I think.
Let's go.
Um, yeah, he's not single, so then there's already a lot of funny ones that don't apply. No, I think enjoy it is a big one. Maybe add an extra day somewhere if you have the chance, or at the end or something. Enjoy the food. Prepare your sets so that you're not on the road like worried about that. Just go into it like, hey, I have all my music together. I know kind of what I'm gonna play. That's all, because then you can enjoy the whole experience way more.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, yeah, that's it's so just enjoy it so much, as much as you can. Um,
I
yeah,
would add to that is that you need to be aware of the balance, and it's kind of have to do with the enjoying the process, as in try to not make a schedule where you are like hotel in, club in, flights. Like try to have some time in between where you can breathe, maybe have a workout or going to the city center, or just take some time in between instead of like continuously being on travel, because that's very hard. Especially in this phase, you're still capable of doing it like that. So
yeah, that's what I meant also with that, adding that extra day. But even if you don't
What
have
kind
that,
of Asia tour are we talking about?
He's heading to Hong Kong, Macau, Thailand, and Taiwan.
Okay, and how many
nice.
weekends? That's 2 weekends.
I'm not sure. Next month he's
Man,
leaving.
you'll have the whole the week in between off. Don't
Yeah,
be
maybe I
worried.
don't know. I
Yeah, I mean,
probably
nobody tours every day. You'll be fine. Just enjoy it.
yeah, true.
But if you do, and this is it goes against maybe Joey's advice because and my own advice because I said take an extra day to enjoy. If you don't have it and you have to go from city to city, yeah, you have to be. You can only test yourself if your body and your mind is up for it. But do go out, and yes, you're gonna have a bit less sleep, and you're gonna go from place to place to place. But the times I did that.
Yeah.
Um, I remember there was this one China tour I did with 4 shows, or 5 shows, and every day a show. So every time 2 flights a day, and no time to sleep. Straight from the club to the airport, maybe an hour in between, stuff like that. And then there was on the third or fourth day, we were in Beijing, and they said, or we said, we want to see the Great Wall. But we were like, basically didn't sleep for 3 days, and we were just like, you know what? We want to see this thing, and we went out, and I still remember it, and I also still remember that my body because of that is up for way more,
Mm.
because you're like on the go, and you don't allow that, um, the tiredness to come in, and then when you get home,
Yeah.
boom, you have to sleep for 2 or
Yeah.
3 days. But it does, if you can handle it, it is amazing to just, yeah, go
Yeah,
go
but
go.
I
I
think in
think.
this case, since it's just his first tour and there's no tour after it or something, I would just recommend you to enjoy the hell out of it. As in, it's a wonderful experience. It's gonna be tough. It's also gonna be great. Enjoy every moment of it, and yeah, just that. I think that's the biggest tip.
And also, make some merchandise, get 2 extra suitcases, put them in the plane, and make sure to share that shit. Take a videographer or hire one locally and market your whole shit. Be
Is
on
it
your
hard to
business.
bring merchandise with you because of like the inbound rules or something? Because
I know one DJ who traveled. He was like, and he's big now. I'm not gonna name names because I don't know if that person wants me to share it. But I know it's a he, by the way. Fuck it. And he just made an effort. He wasn't like he just had his eye on the ball, and I really respect him for that. And he brought 2 whole suitcases with a shitload of merchandise, and then he and his cameraman, they were going somewhere. They gave the whole club all the merchandise, shot it, and just marketed that whole shit through.
Yeah,
I don't know anybody. Everybody was like, okay, just get your only stroller and be hey, make it a little bit comfortable. But what's 1 week out of your life?
yeah.
Man, Josh, take your chance.
yep.
Make the most of
I
it.
mean,
You can go to Thailand any day of the year and enjoy yourself. This is your time. Now go get it. This is the chance.
yeah,
Recognize
that's
it.
it's different, different people, different ways. Because this is a funny story. I was playing a show with Timmy Trumpet in Budapest, I think, 2015, and I was headlining. So it was my name was the biggest one, and then Timmy Trumpet. And I didn't really know who he was. He had, I don't know if he had his hit yet, but, and then you see what kind of different persons, in a good way, me and Timmy are. He had, like Ralph said, all his merch. Everybody was wearing. I think he played after me, but he
He's
had
also
all the
big on
crowd
the
had
grind.
had the masks. They had the inflatable trumpets, and he had this show, and I was just like, wow. And like he wasn't, like I said, I was bigger at the time, so that says a lot. But he had this his eye on the prize. He was like
Yeah.
Ralph, like extra suitcases, merch, videographer, everything. And now you can see how big he now is. Um, yeah, it's because of that kind of
Yeah.
thought. And
True.
I didn't do that, but and I'm not as big as Timmy now, but I'm also very content with where I am. Um,
And you have seen
now
the
that I
Great
say,
Wall.
and I've seen a Great Wall. Now that I say the word content, this is something because you talked about the Avicii documentary last week, and one thing that hit me the hardest, I think, maybe in the documentary was that Avicii said, "I just want to be content,"
Mm,
and he kind of forgot how, and he was chasing another dream, and then as soon as everything stopped, he couldn't be content anymore. It was always
true.
this like, "I need more," and I think I'm very happy, but I think it's also such good advice for anyone pursuing anything. Being just content is very, very valuable. If you can be just content with something very simple, man, that's
But I
yeah. I mean,
also seen a clip
that
shared
really
by
sets you good for life instead of you have enough money to last the
Mm,
but
rest of
I
your life. But
also
that's
saw a clip shared by this guy, Joey. George Clooney was talking, and he's about you don't want to grow old and be the guy that says, "Well, if I would have done that, I would be." You want to
true.
say,
True.
"I did it and I failed."
it's not
True.
the same though. Like being
It's not to
content,
say no.
you
It's
can
not.
you
Yeah.
can still be content with like a simple life and like a normal house and like having food on the table and still take all those
I know,
opportunities.
but that's not the phase where Josh is in right now. You also got to recognize that he is like his first Asia tour. Go get it, man. Make the
Sure,
most out of it. And
definitely.
not about maximizing your fun, because you can have fun and do the business together. How cool
Yeah,
is it to achieve certain goals? For Avicii, it's totally different. I mean, the guy was on top of the world. Must be a lonely and hard
It's not
place to be
different.
in.
It's not different
Yeah,
at
it
all.
is.
That's the whole. The whole thing is that Avicii ran by himself, by this kind of attitude, by this kind of
yeah. He kept
things
that
being
mind.
said to him, and he started believing that. And then yes, of course, he blew up super big. But then he wishes he could just be content with not even levels and right before that when he was just making music. And that's kind of like maybe you can only find that out in hindsight. Um, but yeah, it's really something to think about if you're going to pursue something. Is like why and how much of myself do I want to keep in there or something? Because it's different for everybody, I think.
I think so too. You know, like it's a very thin balance between enjoying and taking your moment and completely forgetting about yourself. It's a very thin line there, and it's a thin line
Yeah,
that many clients cross. I can say. Um, but yeah, I do agree, especially if it's your first tour, enjoy the hell out of it. But once it becomes like a more regular thing, you definitely have to switch something because you can't keep up with that pace. You know, like same thing as James Hype last week. Like you just can't keep staying in that mindset. There needs to be a point where you just has to make different decisions
yeah.
in general. So
It's
one
it is like you said, a very thin line because it's also that
very
yeah. What Ralph says is also so important to do maximize everything because
yeah.
you got to think like, oh, I'm actually happy now. I have a few days off and I'm just or like fucking do this and who knows where like that all that marketing stuff and who knows where that brings you. It
Yeah.
may bring you way better experiences. So
And it's all
yeah,
fun. All the things you can do is fun, it's great, it's a nice opportunity. So there needs to become a point where you say no, and that's kind of where James Hype ended up, where he found out early enough, I think, um, that he kind of went by his own vision and dream. Like he wants to be more in the studio and have more time with his community instead of just traveling the world constantly. I think that's definitely something you should be aware of and sometimes think
Yeah.
about. But that's a
But
later
it's
that's a later stage.
yeah, it's totally a different stadium. And I think also people, I mean, how many shows should a normal person be able to do without any stuff going on? I mean, 60? It's not
Yeah,
so much.
it's super.
And it depends on the person, but
Yeah,
maybe if you have trouble with doing 60, then it's not for you. That's the thing
Yeah,
I'm
exactly. That's
pointing
what
towards.
it's very personal. As in, if you look at Marlon, for example, how much does he do?
I didn't do that much this year. I think 55
Oh,
abroad,
okay.
and then Holland also. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, so that's not that
Yeah,
much. But he used to
to
do
me that
more, right?
doesn't sound a lot. It doesn't sound a lot to me until you say once a week, and then it is quite a lot,
yeah, but it's
in
not once a week because you also do 3 at
true, I know.
Tomorrowland, and
Yeah,
you
yeah, true,
do
true,
Yeah.
true.
and so I can tell you it's like 31 of the 52 weekends or 30. So that
Yeah.
leaves
Okay.
up
Yeah,
quite some room.
that's not bad.
Yeah,
It's very
Yeah.
and
personal, and
that's
that's
also
what.
Europe. I mean, and also that can be not for you. I mean, it wouldn't be
Yeah.
for me, although that
Oh
would
man.
be a level that it's discussable. Yeah, depends on what you have to do next. If I then still have to do my shit here, then no fucking way.
Yeah.
I'm here
Yeah.
Monday to
But
Friday. Yeah,
that's what makes it so hard, and that's why, especially with coaching, we see it all the time. As in, it's a different story every time. Every person's life is so different. There's so many variables that are in play. It's impossible to give a one size fits all answer here.
definitely.
And
Also,
it
what kind
changes
of manager
it
do you
changes
want?
throughout life as well, because Jay, for example, is a dad now. I'm 100% sure that he makes different
No,
decisions than he did 10 years ago. So it also depends on where you are in life, and it's very
Yeah, for sure.
complicated.
Very much
true.
so.
But what are we gonna recommend, Josh?
Enjoy the hell out of it.
Enjoy the hell out of it,
Yeah, you
Okay, so
can't make
two
and
any.
times enjoy. Bring your
be grateful for the
swimsuit.
opportunity.
And for me is go get him, Tiger. You can
Go
do
get
this.
go get him, Tiger. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. We're reaching the end of this episode. Anything to
Yeah.
shield?
No.
I'm flying home tomorrow. Um,
Yay.
if you're listening and you're on the same, no, actually, what's funny, I was on the same flight today as Kungs.
Ah,
I don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
Kungs.
French
Hmm.
DJ. Yeah, I was the row behind him, and I once played a festival with him. So I was also way too busy with my daughters.
That's really a
Uh,
coincidence that
but
you're
it's
also
like
a row behind.
what a coincidence. And then I'm like, it's just, yeah, it's just really funny
And he didn't
to see that
recognize
he
you.
might. No, I'm not even sure, but because I saw like him, and then I'm just busy, and then I kind of was behind him, so you could kind of see through, And I was like,
Mm.
oh, wait a minute, and it was the suitcase that gave it away because I was like that suitcase, and he was like acting as a bit like uh, a little bit like a DJ. I couldn't like just a little bit.
Like much too
Um,
comfortable with traveling. Like I'm doing this every day, like that attitude.
yeah, a little bit, a little
Yeah,
bit.
exactly.
So. But it was funny. But then I just, yeah, getting out of plane with your kids, it's just you're focusing on lifting them
Chaos.
up and
Yeah.
getting all the stuff. And yeah,
Okay. Everyone who has been listening, thank you very much. Make sure to subscribe to our channels. We're almost approaching 600 subscribers on YouTube, so we're
Ooh.
growing rapidly there. Thank you very much for that. Leave a comment if you can, and if you want answers on your questions, make sure to drop them in the Discord.
oh,
And we'll be back next week, the three of us. Have a good
And share it with
share it with
everyone you
everyone.
don't know. Get to know them, then share it. Then ask them about their pets. Get to know their pets. Walk them. The people you meet,
Share it there.
share it.
Let's go. Thanks,
It's easy.
everyone. See you all
hi
next week.
guys.
Peace.
My phone says low device storage.
Yeah, die
I need to
notificatie.
free